All right, let's jump right in. Inside your body, right now, there's a silent war constantly being waged by this incredible microscopic army. But what happens when that army has too few soldiers? Or maybe too many? And what if the soldiers themselves turn rogue? Today, we're going to demystify 3 terms about your white blood cells that, let's be honest, sound super similar and can get pretty confusing. So this is really the big question we're tackling. It's a classic puzzle of quantity versus quality. Are your body's defenses just understaffed? Are they on super high alert for a good reason? Or is there something more serious, like a rebellion from within the ranks? Let's figure it out. So before we can even begin to talk about the problems, we've got to meet the heroes of our story, right? These are your white blood cells. I want you to think of them as the highly trained special forces of your entire immune system. So what's their job exactly? Well, their mission is to patrol your bloodstream, constantly on the lookout for threats. Things like bacteria, viruses, you name it. And then they eliminate them. They are, quite literally, your body's first and last line of defense on a cellular level. Now, this number on the screen, this is absolutely crucial. This is our baseline, our all is well, our state of peace. In a healthy adult, you'll find between 4,000 and 11,000 of these cellular soldiers in every single tiny microliter of blood. Go ahead and burn that range into your brain. It's the key to understanding, well, everything that comes next. Okay, so let's get into our first scenario. What happens when that army we just talked about is dangerously thinned out? This brings us to our very first condition. The official term is leukocytopenia. It sounds complicated, but the idea is actually really simple. Your defense force is understaffed. The barracks are half empty, and that leaves your entire body pretty vulnerable. And here's the number that really defines it. When that count drops below 4,000 per microliter, that's when the alarm bells start to go off. You can see just how that compares to the normal, peaceful range we just looked at. So you might be asking, what could possibly cripple our army like this? Well, a lot of the time it's either friendly fire or a major breakdown in the supply chain. Things like viral infections can act like saboteurs, while treatments like chemotherapy, they can accidentally slow down the factory that makes new soldiers, leaving the kingdom's defenses really weak. Okay, now let's completely flip the script. What if the problem isn't too few soldiers, but way too many? What if the kingdom is on high alert and has called in massive reinforcements? This situation is called leukocytosis. And the most important word here really is reactive. This isn't a disease in itself. No, this is your body's normal, healthy, and incredibly powerful response to something it thinks is a threat. And the number that signals this high alert? A count over 11,000. Your bone marrow, which is the factory, has gotten the emergency broadcast. It's ramping up production and sending out wave after wave of defenders to go fight something off. And the triggers for this are often exactly what you'd expect. A nasty bacterial infection like pneumonia, some serious inflammation, even just severe physical stress. All of these things can make your body flood the system with healthy, totally functional white blood cells. So let's do a quick recap of these first 2, okay? Leukocytopenia, your army is too small, and that's a problem. Leukocytosis, your army is huge, but it's full of good soldiers who are responding to a real fight. At the end of the day, both of these are problems of quantity. But this is where our story takes a much darker turn. Because sometimes the issue isn't about the number of soldiers you have at all. It's about their character. It's about who they are. And that brings us to our third and most critically different problem, a rebellion from within the ranks. This isn't about an outside threat anymore. This is a civil war. This is leukemia. I really want you to look closely at the words here. Malignant cancer, uncontrolled, and the most important one of all, abnormal. With leukemia, the body isn't just making too many cells. It's making defective, broken, non-functional cells that can't do their job. And this explains the core issue perfectly. These cancerous cells, they're like untrained rogue recruits just flooding the barracks. They take up all the space, they use up all the resources, and they start crowding out the healthy, functional soldiers your body desperately needs. And that's exactly why leukemia leads to other huge problems, like anemia and infections. So now that we've met all 3 of our main players, let's put them all side by side. Let's really hammer home the difference between a problem of count and a problem of character. All right, time to put it all into focus. This is where it's all gonna click into place. This table just says it all, doesn't it? Look at that cell quality row. For leukocytopenia and leukocytosis, the cells are normal. They're good guys, but in leukemia, they are abnormal. And now check out the nature row. You've got a secondary condition, a reactive response, and then a malignant disease. That right there is the fundamental difference. It's not just a numbers game anymore. It's a completely different biological reality. So, after all that, what's the one thing you really need to walk away with? Let's boil it all down to one single, crystal clear thought. And here it is. This one sentence sums it up perfectly. The first two are all about the count of otherwise normal cells. Leukemia, on the other hand, is a cancer that messes up the production of abnormal cells. If you remember nothing else from this, remember that.
And hey, if you want a super simple way to keep these straight forever, here's a great little memory trick. It's all in the words themselves. Penia sounds like poverty, which means a decrease. Cytosis means an increase in cells, and emia points to a disease of the blood, like cancer. So you've got penia, cytosis, emia. Too few, too many, and just plain wrong.
So the next time you hear these terms, you'll get it. You'll understand the incredible stories a simple blood test can tell. Stories of an army that's understaffed, an army on high alert, or an army fighting a devastating rebellion from within. Today, you've learned how to read a really crucial chapter in the language of your own health.